Mike Neville, retired Scotland Yard Detective Chief Inspector. Take two, hello.
Hello, sorry, Jeremy. Bad signals in Wales. Bad signals.
You see, there's the reason. All them sheep. I'm joking. Mikey, morning. Welcome to the show. We just wanted your take, mate. The audience always love your input. This Henry Nowak case that you and I talked about in some detail last week. Hampshire Police. I found this astonishing today. Hampshire Police, the force at the centre of all of this, issued a statement, right, challenging disinformation during the trial of the 18-year-old has been revealed. It's understood that Hampshire Police were concerned about online commentary and potential public unrest and had sought the CPS's view on publishing a message saying it would address questions once legal proceedings concluded. Now, Mike, unless I'm missing the point, you can't do that because it's in the middle of an ongoing trial. But to me, that smacks of, we're going to get slaughtered. There's loads to come out. We want to try and quash it. A police force, man.
It is unbelievable. And this is a police force that isn't solving very much crime, that focuses on race action plans more than catching burglars, robbers and thieves. They really need to get a grip. My young daughters live in the force area, and I want them to focus on keeping women and girls safe, keeping us all safe, and catching criminals. But they're simply not doing that. They've lost the way. The police have lost the plot. It's not just Hampshire Police. It's most of the police service. I saw that a Muslim, the Shadow Equalities Minister, a Muslim MP, has written to South Wales Police saying, why are you focusing on this Muslim hate speech instead of focusing on crime? We really need the police, the senior officers, to get back to solving crime.
Can you answer me a question? Because I sit here every day and there are certain things that I can't answer. Look, there was definitely racism apparent at times in the 60s and 70s, and there was undoubtedly questions that need to be asked about the police. But how has common sense allowed it to go so much into the opposite direction that, you know, when people say there's two-tier police, you agree there's two-tier policing, don't you?
Absolutely.
So why won't people in positions of power dare to accept what millions and millions of people in this country know to be a fact, Mikey?
Because they live in a cult. It's not, to them, this isn't policies or anything. This is a religion. They absolutely believe, like the people who believe net zero, who would bankrupt this country for net zero, these people would ruin the police for these race action plans. They absolutely believe it with religious zeal. And the only way to deal with them is to get rid of them. You'll never change them because they're committed. It's like going back 500 years and telling the Pope, oh, it's not that the Earth doesn't go around the sun goes around the Earth. And if you took him up in a rocket and showed him, he wouldn't believe you because the religion is such that they believe that 500 years ago and it's in their heads. And these people believe this stuff and they're never going to stop doing it. The only way to do it is to remove them, change the police training and get the police back focused on what they should be doing.
You know that the Nowak, the horrible Nowak case, where do you, like me, stand on the belief, however much criticism I've taken for this view, that if the situation had been reversed, and it's not just about a Sikh young man, but there is an issue here about ethnicity. If the roles had been reversed and a young white man, Henry Nowak, had stabbed this guy and played the same trick, it would have been a completely different outcome, wouldn't it?
It would have been a completely different outcome. Do you know, I remember 20 years ago, Jeremy, as a detective sergeant, some of my team chased a man in Brixton. He jumped off a balcony and died trying to flee the police. The chief superintendent's first question to me was, how are the officers? Was it legitimate? His first question was the man black? And he wasn't. He was a white guy. And that sums up to me. That has been going on now for 20, 25
years. Is it fear
years.
Or is it ideology, the fear caused by ideology?
I think it started off as fear. Being criticised and people not and promotion is a big thing in the police. Some people sell their grandmother for the next pip or crown in the police. They would really do that. But then now it's taken over with almost religious fervour. And what you haven't got, they'll tell you about diversity. There's no diversity of thought. all of them think the same. No one in the room will put their hand up and say, look, this is really crazy, because that's what it needs. It needs somebody like me, it needs somebody like you in that room to say, hold on, let's rethink this. But who thought, for example, the way this investigation was dealt with was a good idea? But everybody has sat in a room and done that. But the main thing for me, Jamie, as well, that I feel sorry for the young officers who have to every day deal with this stuff. And they're frightened. And we know with Hampshire Police, you know, people go on these courses, and do you know the best thing? Not many people are like me. They keep their mouths shut. They just take it in, sit there, and they go along with it. And that's a bad way into society, and particularly if we've got police officers who are having to do that.
What chance have we got, though? This has just been passed to me. Front page of the Telegraph. Police forces' efforts to combat institutional racism have not gone far enough, a police race watchdog has claimed. Amimbola Johnson, who chairs a scrutiny board overseeing police race action plans, said last night her watchdog had consistently found that progress in tackling racism had been too slow, too inconsistent and too poorly embedded. She warned that the backlash over the police handling of the murder of Henry Nowak risked throwing away improvements in anti-racist policing.
Well, that woman is a black barrister, and she's made a lot of money. The trouble is, all the time, Jeremy, you follow the money. How much money has been made out of diversity and equality courses?
I don't know. How much has been? Well, courses, yeah, courses, yeah.
If you look at police forces, how many people do they employ doing this? How many people like this woman, this barrister here you mentioned, how many people have made a good fortune out of promoting this ideology? And look where we've got to. We've got to get back to that, what it tells us in the Bible, what Martin Luther King says, that we look at people's hearts and not the outward appearance. But we've gone down this track now where we're saying we don't like racism, and then they're producing race action plans which say we should treat people differently according to their race. How can that be right?
Can't be right. Other thing I wanted to ask you about quickly, and we really appreciate your time today, Mikey, front page of the Express. Britain won't send us back. Boasts criminals. This is a great piece of journalism by Zach Garner-Perkis, investigative editor of the Express. Dangerous criminals, Mike, thrown out of EU nations are crossing the channel because, and I quote, they won't send us back. In a migrant camp on the outskirts of Dunkirk, an Iranian man told an undercover reporter that he was coming to Britain to commit violent crimes because he'd just come up with an excuse, and we're so bloody soft we won't send him home. I can't. I give up. I genuinely can't.
It's shocking, isn't it? It's shocking. This is a political class who think everybody who comes across in that boat is a victim. You only have to hear it in Starmer's voice. Oh, smash the gangs, because in his head, the people in the boat are victims, and that even if they've got the worst criminal records, they won't deport them. As I say, it's all part of a cult. It's part of an ideology, and we need to break it. Otherwise, it's going to break the country.
Just one thing before we go. Two-tier policing, yes. Two-tier justice. A Prime Minister that's massively unpopular, a Conservative Party that did nothing to help the situation. Do you believe we can get back on the right side? Because every single time... I mean, I do this show every day, as you know, and the unhappiness, the sense of how this country isn't what it was is overpowering some mornings, mate. There's nothing to feel good about. I'm being honest. I'm not trying to be down.
And I'd say the worst thing as well, Jamie, is that up in Makersfield, you've got Rupert Lowe, Nigel Farage and Kemi Badenoch squabbling, and there was a cartoon in the Telegraph which showed all of them pointing a gun at each other, and Andy Burnham sneaking through and getting in there. And somehow all the parties which represent common sense need to speak and get together. Otherwise, we're going to end up with this Labour, Green, Liberal Democrat, SNP, Plaid Cymru lunacy, and we'll just get even. It will get even worse. Somehow, people's egos have got to be put to one side for the good of the nation.
Good man, Mike. Thank you. Enjoy Wales. Here is, ladies and gentlemen, a list of your candidates in the Makerfield by-election. It's a thing that we have to do. We have to list them all in a very balanced way. Take it away, Big M. Jake Austin stands for the Liberal Democrats. Count Binface for his own party, Count Binface Party. Andy Burnham, of course, the Labour Party. Dan Clark, the Libertarian Party. John Dyer for the Independents. Independents, Ed Gemmell, the Climate Party, Paul Gould, the Independent, Alan Howling, Lord Hope, the official monster raving loony party, Robert Kenyon, Reform UK, Robert Pownall, Protect the Wild, Rebecca Shepherd, Restore Britain, Sarah Wakefield, the Green Party, Peter Ward, Rejoin the EU, and Michael Winstanley, the Conservative Party. That's your list of candidates. Thank you so much indeed, whoever did that voiceover.